Now I'd like to talk about some of the artifacts in Scrum. And the first one I want to talk about is the product vision. It is the compass that sets us on our course for what we're going to deliver. It should talk about the target market. Who are we trying to reach? Who are the people who are actually going to consume this? It should give us some idea of what the business need is that's out there or the opportunity that we're going to take advantage of, as well as describing key features for this product at a high level. And what's the value to the company? What do we expect? And you might even actually have some goals of we expect this type of revenue or this much increase in efficiency, which will result in this type of savings. Something that can convey what this is actually going to bring to the company. And I also want to point out that this is not a core Scrum artifact. The product vision is something that you'll hear a lot of times mentioned by many of the thought leaders, but it is not part of the actual Scrum guide from Jeff Sullivan and Ken Swaber. The next artifact is the product backlog. The very key artifact because this is the single source of all our requirements. This is where we go. And there shouldn't be multiple versions of the backlog. There shouldn't be multiple backlogs out there. There's one backlog with a single list of requirements that we're going to work from. It is also constantly evolving. Agile is supposed to embrace change, so things are going to change. And if our products are going to change, then the backlog of requirements are going to change as well. And ordered based on value. Now we'll talk more about what we mean by value later, but mainly it means the value to the company. So things that are more valuable, we should do those first. Things that are less valuable, we'll do those later, if at all. The product backlog is also estimated by the development team. In a lot of command and control structures, you'll often see management or experts coming in and providing their estimates, but these are not the estimates of the people who actually do the work. We want to make sure the people actually on the ground doing the work are providing the estimates for these backlog items. The next artifact is the release plan. We have to know what is the plan going to be? When do we think things will be delivered as we know it now? And that's what the release plan is about. Forecast based on empirical data. And empirical data means how have we performed in the past. Not what we think we're going to do, but actually what we've proven we can do. It also is an overlay on top of the product backlog. So the product backlog is that list of what we're going to do, ordered by value, and this is an overlay of how many of those things we think we can get done in these little short feedback loops. It's also updated every sprint. Every sprint we have more empirical data of how we perform. We might be able to do 5 things one time and then 4 the next and 3 the next. And we can see that we're actually trending down and we shouldn't plan on being able to do 5 in the future because we actually haven't proven that we can keep that pace up. So you want to update it every sprint. Also there might be new information that came into the product backlog. So every sprint that plan is changed. As opposed to a traditional waterfall plan where we stay on that plan until something happens. We know things are going to change every sprint. We automatically want to reformulate our plan each time. I also want to point out that the release plan is not part of the Scrum.org Scrum Guide as well. It used to be in there, and then they decided to take it out. But I still think it's a very viable thing to use. You just want to be careful that you don't use a release plan as a very static forecasting or promise of delivery. It is something that's evolving. It's trying to give you your best guess based on what you know now. The sprint backlog artifact is derived from the product backlog. It's actually a plan for delivering those selected product backlog items for one of those short feedback loops. It's all the items for a given sprint that you're going to work on. And the plan to deliver that product increment represented by those product backlog items. So these are the tasks, all the tasks that go into finishing this product backlog item. Everything you need to do from development, testing, documentation, whatever that is. This is the plan. It's also owned by the development team. It's not owned by the Scrum Master. It's not owned by the functional managers. It's not owned by the product owner. It is the development team's plan. They come up with it and they manage it. They also need to make sure that they keep it up to date. Things change even in a sprint. We thought something would take this long and it takes longer. We thought we needed to do one thing, we need to do 3 things. So that this is going to be a dynamic plan and it needs to be highly visible so that when things do change, we can immediately see that and make decisions based on that information. The burn down chart is a reflection of the sprint backlog. It tracks work remaining every day. So as you're going into the sprint backlog and updating how much hours you have spent on a task or how many are remaining on a task, we then have an idea of collectively, how much more hours do we have remaining to deliver everything in this sprint. It's updated by the development team. And again, if you're updating your sprint backlog, it should be easy to update the burn down chart as well, because it's just an overlay on top of that information. You want to display it prominently. Remember, we've talked about transparency before. The burn down is a great, what we call an information radiator, something you can glance at and pick up critical project information in a few seconds. So whether you're doing this manually with a chart on white paper or on a chalkboard, doesn't matter. Put it out there. If you're doing something digital, buy a big monitor, display it prominently, and have these type of charts showing over and over again so people are very clear on where we are at any given time. I also want to talk about the impediment list. And while impediments are mentioned in the Scrum.org Scrum Guide, the impediment list has become a collection of these impediments. So it may not be in the Scrum Guide, but I didn't put a star on there because I do think it's talked about. And what do we mean by impediments? Anything blocking or affecting the performance of the team. Anything preventing them from reaching their goals that's either going to totally stop them in their tracks or is preventing them from exercising as fast as they possibly can. This is updated by the Scrum team. They need to be identifying these blockers, identifying these things that are slowing down, and putting them on this list so they can actually make it transparent, make it visible, and then we can make some plan to resolve them. And the impediment list is monitored by the Scrum Master. He doesn't own it, but he is responsible for making sure that anything on that list is being resolved or has been identified as something we can't resolve right now and why. And while he can add things to this list, it's mainly the Scrum team who should be adding this information, trying to fix their impediments as they see fit. If it's something they can't fix, then they can escalate to the Scrum Master, who can then take that and move it into whatever state it needs to go to be escalated to other people. But still, it's on some list that's highly visible. Everybody can see, everybody can know what's going on and what we're doing to fix these impediments.